I'm Leah Steele.
And I'm Adriana Ramirez. Here is our sports update. Sadly, wrestling has ended. Their last tournament was last week, but for the kids who love spring sports, you are in luck. To what my bestie has to say next.
7th graders girls won their last game against Warden, but 8th grade lost. Here are some upcoming spring sports: softball, track, boys soccer, tennis, and baseball.
If you want to join, sign up on Final Forms and get your physical.
Here's some of Miss Hokinson's funny life stories.
I was traveling through all night long with my brother, and we were traveling through Colorado, and in like southern Colorado at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm an old person, like I've had 6 babies. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. So I'm like, hey, stop at this convenience store. We'll get some snacks. It's 2:30 in the morning. I gotta run to the bathroom. And he's like, okay. So I go into the bathroom and I go into the stall, I go to the bathroom, and then I go to get out of the stall and it does not open. The stall doesn't open. And so, and I'm like thinking, okay, how do I get out of the stall? I didn't take my phone with me because it was just gonna be a quick run into the bathroom and come back out, right? So I get it, I'm in this stall and I'm like, oh my gosh, so how am I gonna get out? So I'm screaming. You guys all know I yell so loud. And it's like echoing and yeah, nothing. There's nobody. It's just crickets. I could hear the music outside in the convenience store, and I'm like, okay. And so then I look at this stall and I think, okay, my options are I can try to wedge myself underneath. But the problem is one of those stalls that was kind of close to the bottom, and I'm not exactly skinny. So I was worried that I might get wedged under the thing. So I was like, okay. And not to mention the floor was absolutely disgusting. It was so gross. So I go under there and I'm like, so I'm looking down there, I'm like, okay. But since it was a little bit lower, I thought maybe I can jump over the top. I don't know, it's 2:30 in the morning. I don't know why I thought I could jump over the top. But, so I stand on the toilet and I start jumping, and I'm like jumping over and I get wedged on the top. In fact, I had a bruise across my middle after all this was done. And I'm wedged on the top. So you can imagine this not so skinny person like flailing at the top of this stall. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't flip over. I fell back down on the toilet. I am so lucky the toilet did not break. Because if the toilet would have broke, there would have been water going everywhere. So then I'm like, you want to know what actually worked? I kicked the door a couple times at first when I first knew I was locked in there to kind of jam the latch. But then I'm like, okay, I've been in there. It's probably been about 45 minutes I've been trying to get out of this stall. I have no idea where my brother is or what he's thinking. So I'm like, okay, so I just said a prayer. I know it sounds crazy, but I said a prayer and then I just totally karate chopped the door like 5 times. Boom, boom, right in a row. And then the door just popped open. I think it bent the latch or something, but it just popped open. I was free. And so then I go out there and I'm like kind of ticked, like, where's my brother? Why isn't he coming and saving me? So I go into the convenience store and I'm like, where the heck is my brother? And you know what he's doing? He's going like this. Up and down the aisles, looking at all the snacks. And I'm like, where are you? He's like, I was just out here. I go, didn't you hear me yelling at you? Didn't you hear me screaming and saying, hey, I needed help? He's like, I don't know. I go, it's been 45 minutes. And he's like, I thought you had diarrhea. So I always take my phone into any public restroom now in case I get stuck.
Next, here is Mr. Sari for the Spartans of the Week.
What's up, Spartans? It's Mr. Siri here for the next installation of Spartans of the Week. And no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me being a little weak. Anyway, this week we got Mr. Mendez with 2 8th graders for Spanish. And then because he only has 8th graders, I threw in a couple 7th graders for my science class. So, first one, and we're starting it off with a big drum roll for Max Anderson. Mr. Mendez says, Max is always happy and always willing to learn. Super fun in class and knows how to have a good time. Max is great to have in class. Nice job, Max. You are awesome. Mr. Mendez says, Raul Horta works hard, arrives on time, and makes kids laugh when presenting. He is a complete stud. Never had either of these kiddos in class, but I do see them, I do know them, and I wholeheartedly agree with Mr. Mendez. Now, my kiddos, one of them just impressed me today. She has been a good kiddo all year, but just today, I was like, wow, she's doing some good stuff. And then the other one has just been a bright spot all year. And so I'm glad to finally give her kind of a spotlight for being just a great kiddo. Anyway, number one, the kiddo that impressed me today with just good and hard work is Jocelyn Magana. To me, she's an awesome worker and is always trying to do her best. And then last but not least is Kayla Damien. Kayla is always working hard and is just always in a good mood and makes people around her happier. So I want to show my appreciation to these four kiddos. Thank you for being awesome Spartans. Thank you for showing everybody how to work and how to act and just how to be a good person. Spartans, keep working hard and keep being good. Talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Ari.
The voting of March Madness Tournament of the Books has begun. Here's the winners from the first round of voting.
Between Wings of Fire and Pendragon, Wings of Fire won. Between Ranger's Apprentice and Keeper of the Lost Cities, Keeper of the Lost Cities won. Between the Warrior Heir and Red Queen, the Red Queen moves on. Between Dork Diaries and Amulet, Amulet won. Between Girl Stolen and the Memory Key, Girl Stolen wins. Between Ender's Game and I Am Number 4, Ender's Game moves on. Between Scythe and Nemesis, Scythe beat him out. Between the Maze Runner and Partials, the Maze Runner wins. Between the Boys in the Boat and I Am Malala, the Boys in the Boat moves on. Between Ghost and Hidden Figures, Ghost won. Between The Boy Who Dared and the Book Thief, the Boy Who Dared won. Between Refugee and I Survived moves on. Between Heat and Because of Winn-Dixie, Heat won. Between Restart and Fish in a Tree, Restart moves on. And the last, Under the Mystique, lost to Brown Girl Dreaming.
The Sweet 16 books can be voted on now. Look on the student website for the link. The winners of this week's vote will be announced on next week's newscast and can be found on the bulletin board outside of Mrs. Jensen's room.
Conferences are at the end of the month. Make sure to keep up all your grades. Here's some random facts.
Today is National Pancake Day. The world's fastest car is Thrust SSC. It goes up to 763 miles per hour.
Some cats are allergic to humans.
Kylie Jenner named her baby Wolf Webster. USFL will be a new football league starting in 2022. Introducing his singing career is Sari.
I won't cry, no I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me, and darling, stand by me, oh, stand by me, oh, stand now, stand by me. I don't know how this sounds supposed to go.
Maybe he should stick to science.
The world's fastest car is the Thrust SSC. It goes up to 76 miles. 706. Oh, okay.
Start the whole line over.
The world's fastest car is Thrust.
SSC.
Okay, wait. See that part? Okay, let's see.
Here's the meme of the day.
Okay.
No, you say it. You say that one.
Here's the meme of the day.